Good evening, and welcome along to Robin Elliott. Tonight, coming up on the show, I'll be chatting to comedian Mark Simmons about some of the most avoided topics of 2025.
I tell you one that made me laugh was Botox.
Oh.
I don't know anything about that, and ironically, I didn't.
I recommend it. We'll be taking a look back over 40 years of Eastenders with some of the Eastenders stars who've appeared on this show over the years, including this guy.
I'm Leslie Grantham, and you're watching Robin's show on MVTV. Watch it or else.
Also joining us in the studio, downtown radio presenter Declan Wilson will be here.
You know what, I like to see it as a wee escape, for like 3 hours a day. We'll come together, we'll have the crack, when the world's a wee bit serious and everything mad's going on around you, come on, we'll come in like a family, have a laugh together.
We'll be shining the spotlight on a very worthwhile local charity, the Suicide Awareness and Support Group.
We're more about the positive message getting out there of, as long as our doors is open, there will always be someone there to make sure that that person gets the right help at the right time.
We'll have new music from Bryan Adams. And also live music in the studio from Joe O'Sullivan from the band The All Clear. But as always, let's begin the show by taking a look back at some of the more quirky and unusual and really quite weird news stories of the week. To help us do it, Kim Kelly's here. Hello.
Hello. Weird.
There is weirdness happening out there in the world, isn't there?
There's weirdness happening out in that world, and I'm here to track it down for you.
Exactly. Tell me about the man who lost his mobile phone.
Okay, so a man in Australia went camping along this very nice beach, and he decided while he was camping that he was going to put his phone into a bucket, sort of, out in the awning off the tent. Now, what happened was the tide came in and took the bucket with the phone in it out to sea, and he thought, all right, that's the end of my phone.
Yeah.
No. 2 weeks later, his friend called him. He obviously got a new phone with him, and told him that he had found the phone still in the bucket and it had washed up on a beach 20 miles away.
Wow.
Isn't that mad?
That's luck, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, considering that literally you go to the toilet and your phone falls down the toilet and that's the end of it,
Has that happened to you?
Several times.
Really?
Yes, had to fish it out.
Put it in rice?
Put it in rice, yeah.
Does that actually work?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
No, you just have to get a new phone.
Yeah, where did that come from? Why do people go out and get yourself a thing of boiled rice?
I think it's no, it's not boiled rice.
Isn't it?
No, it's dried rice. Oh, were you putting it in, you were going to the Chinese and then putting it in.
I'm going to be going to the Chinese.
Right, okay,
I need a thing of boiled rice.
No.
Dried rice is meant to do it,
yeah.
But it doesn't.
No.
Fascinating. Right, moving on to a topic that we love talking about, the Loch Ness Monster.
Okay, I bring you the latest news from the Loch Ness Monster. The first sighting was made last week.
Yeah.
So they found a sort of a mass, like a black mass, just below the surface.
Yes.
Or just below. So they found that, so they're all very excited about that, and that's the first of this year. However, researchers in St Andrews University, who have nothing else to do, have compiled some statistics about the Loch Ness Monster, and they have worked out, if you want to see it, the best time to see it is on any Sunday in August that's sunny and there's no wind. So if you want to see the Loch Ness Monster, they say that's the time to go and see it.
Fascinating.
But these people have literally nothing else to do.
They mustn't have.
I love it. But people are still seeing it.
They're still, yes.
Are you not a believer?
I don't know. I haven't. I need more research. I need more.
I think there's been enough research.
I need that man from Donegal. That's what I need.
Oh yes,
I need him on the show.
Are you there, man from Donegal? This is the man who is he like head of some society?
Yeah.
And he lives in Donegal and he monitors the live feed because there is a live feed.
Yeah.
People, just in case you can't sleep.
He's an expert.
Just in case you can't sleep. And actually, if you can't sleep, have you seen Meghan Markle's new show?
Oh. I started it and then I give up.
I liked it.
Did you?
It made me, I had a lovely nap during that. I have to say, it was the most gentle show and everything looked really nice and her handwriting was nice and everything just made me, I could just feel the warmth coming over me and then I went to sleep. It was lovely.
Yeah, I'll give the rest of it a miss then, I think.
Okay.
Right, woolly mammoths we're talking about.
Yes, so there are people in Texas, scientists in Texas, this is funny, a couple of years ago decided that they were going to try and bring back the woolly mammoth and I believe the dodo, which went extinct quite a while ago. So they were doing a lot of research and they were boasting about how they were going to do this. And other scientists were like, really, is this going to work? So last week they announced what they'd done in 2 years.
Right.
They have made a woolly mouse.
What?
So they got a mouse and they gave it some of the genetic properties of a woolly mammoth, something to do with its internal organs or something, or similar, or whatever, blood type or something, right?
Yes.
But the outside of it, so it looks like an ordinary mouse with a kind of like a woolly mammoth coat. And that's it. And so other scientists are going, but that's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yes.
You have just made a woolly mouse that didn't need made.
Yes.
You're no closer to bringing back a woolly mammoth. And even if you could, it's not going to be the woolly mammoth from then. It's going to be like a new, because they're going to have to use a cow or like an elephant or something, I don't know, to make it big enough.
Yes.
So yeah, they're no closer, but they're really happy with it. And I mean, it does look quite cute, but people seem to have nothing to do this week.
Including you, because you have got the time to dig
To
up
research,
these stories.
to research stories of other people doing absolutely nothing. Yeah.
Fascinating.
And now there you go. First with the fascinating weird news.
As always, we'll have her back next week with some more fascinating news. Right, time for some brand new music now, and music superstar Bryan Adams is heading back to Belfast. He plays the SSE Arena on the 21st of May. He's also got a brand new single out called Make Up Your Mind. Here he is, Bryan Adams.
Make up your mind. You gotta make up your mind. Between your future or history, it's you and him or it's you and me. You can be cruel or be kind. We can't pretend that we're just good friends. This is the way that the story ends or just begins. It's lose or win. You gotta make up your mind. Make up your mind. You gotta make up your mind. Between your future or history, it's you and him or it's you and me. You can be cruel or be kind. We can't pretend that we're just good friends.
New music from Bryan Adams, who's heading back to Belfast. 21st of May, he plays the SSE Arena. On the way shortly, we'll be celebrating 40 years of a top TV soap EastEnders. We'll be taking a look through the NVTV archives at some of the big stars from the show who've appeared on this very show over the past number of years. But before all that, let's meet the newest presenter to join Downtown Radio. Declan Wilson is here with us in the studio. But before we chat to him, let's have a look behind the scenes at Declan on the radio.
Wherever you go, the sound on your radio should always be downtown. So much more music and the friendliest people here on 293 downtown.
Right, now that we're all tuned into the right radio station, I can officially say, hiya. My name's Declan Wilson, and welcome to your brand new mid-morning show on Downtown.
When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown when you've got worries.
Right, let's get another guest on the show. This time it's a voice you may recognise from, well, various airwaves across the country. He's now the brand new mid-morning presenter on Downtown Radio. It is Declan Wilson. How are you, sir?
Very good, Robin. Thanks for having me on. I'm not used to all these cameras
Well,
and stuff.
I can't believe it's taken this long to actually get you into the studio.
I know, it's mad. I was talking to you there before we went on. Last time I was actually on your show was COVID.
COVID, and we had to do it on Zoom, of course.
Zoom.
Because this studio moved into my home and everything, and it was bizarre. It was,
guests on from all around the world on Zoom.
Exactly,
but it's lovely to be here in the flesh. Thanks for having me.
Great to see you, and congratulations on the new gig.
Thank you, yeah.
For any one of us kind of radio anoraks out there, when you go to a station like Downtown with such an iconic background, it's something pretty special, isn't it?
Really is, and I felt that from day one. As you know, Robin, you've probably been keeping an eye on stuff and things that I've been doing over the last year. I've been freelancing for the last year, so obviously left Q and then decided just to go out on my own for a wee while, doing various shows with different places. It was with BBC NI, and then fortunate enough to get in the door at Bar NI as well with Downtown. And it's been great. Been freelancing there for the last year, and then finally got the call that a position became available as a mid-morning presenter. So I was like, absolutely, give me it. I'll take that, no problem at all. It's just something I love about Downtown is, like you said, the heritage as well, but the listeners are some of the most loyal listeners you'll ever get. Ever.
Exactly. And what I love as well, they're letting you kind of do your own thing, and they're letting you have that interaction with the listeners, which is, if you've listened to me for years on the air as well, that's the thing I enjoyed most, was talking to the punters. And that's what they're letting you do, which is amazing. Absolutely,
it's brilliant. And it's just the silliest things. Like, for example, Pancake Tuesday went on air, and I thought, you know what, we need to do something different, not just what's on your pancake. You know?
Exactly,
Everyone might be doing that or whatever. So I thought, let's do only pans. Let's have people ring the studio and let's just put the albatross music on, the sexy music, and describe to me in a sexy, sultry manner what's on your pancake. And it took off, like, it's the stupidest things that take off, but do you know what? I like to see it as a wee escape, for like 3 hours a day. We'll come together, we'll have the crack, when the world's a wee bit serious and everything mad's going on around you, come on, we'll come in like a family, have a laugh together.
Exactly. Now, I tuned in the other day. You were singing to the people.
Yeah.
You were singing Dancing in the Dark or something to them. What was that about?
Oh, that was because a new Primark store opened, so I called it Shopping in Primark instead of Dancing in the Dark. Fancy a bath bomb. This is the kind of thing that happens on the show. It's just that my mind goes into places that I can't even explain, and these things come out on the air. But you know what? It's brilliant. Everybody gets involved. And then when people get involved as well, as you know, throughout the years, it grows arms and legs.
Oh, exactly.
Before you know it, you're ripping off Bruce Springsteen across Northern Ireland.
Where did this love for radio begin then? How far does this go back?
Oh, do you know what? I've always loved radio, and I kind of thought that it's a job that's a million miles away. You know, you have to be some form of star, or you have to have someone in the know to maybe get in the door. And I always just laughed, thinking, no, I'll never do it. Like, no, I'll never. You need to know. You need to be somebody to get in there. And to cut a long story short, I was away on a holiday one time, and I'd done every job under the sun. You name it. I'd done sales. I was going to be a teacher. Imagine me teaching your children. Like, no. I was car sales, everything, retail, everything, you name it. I've probably done the job. And I was on my way home, and I was working a sales job that I really didn't like at the time. And I said to my wife on the way home, I went, got the dread, the fear about getting to work. I was like, really, I'm not looking forward to this. She said, just quit. I went, what? She went, quit. Yeah. And I went, but what about it? She went, I'll support us financially, and to be fair, to her credit, thank you, she did.
Right, yeah.
And I quit. Went on Monday and went, I'm gone. Yeah. No notice, I'm leaving. And I walked out the door and went, oh, what have I done? But started volunteering, as you know, to maybe get into radio, you have to volunteer and get a bit of experience and stuff. Yeah. So went to Queen's student radio station, which I think is still going.
I think, yeah.
And a couple of different wee shows on there, and sent demos around after I got a bit better. The first demo was awful, by the way, it wouldn't have employed me. But after time and slogging away and doing a wee bit of voluntary work, I got a call and finally made it, and it's brought me to this stage where I am now with Downtown, and I'm so grateful. And
growing up, who were you listening to on the radio? Who was your kind of radio hero?
You. I know you're not that old, but
Of course not.
The likes of yourself, Mark Lima, Stuart Robinson, the later years, the late Stephen Clements, sadly, who's no longer with us. These are all I think, icons
Yeah.
of Northern Irish radio. And even to mention some of the names that have come out of downtown, Robin, you could probably say as well, you know.
Exactly,
Some
yeah.
of the names throughout the years.
They sit in the studio with people like the late Big T and Candy and people like that have sat there, you know.
Handy household names.
Yes, yeah.
That have been part of downtown
Yeah.
radio. So to be walking the same corridors as those guys and sitting in the same studio.
Yes,
the very same studio.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned Mark Lima there as well, because that's a name that doesn't get the kind of respect that he deserves.
Love him. And I still keep in touch with Mark too.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Because one of my greatest times in radio was doing the breakfast show with Mark.
I actually have this vague memory.
Where you'd be laughing every day at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Of listening on the way into school, and you were robbing the brown-nosed reindeer.
Yes.
With the reindeers on the run, Mark
How
and
did
Dave.
we get away with that? You know, when I look back at that,
exactly.
We did that live every
Really?
morning. Did that live every morning in the run up to Christmas, like a 10-part series.
And the listeners wrote the script.
The listeners wrote the
And it
script
was
every
brilliant.
day, so we didn't know what was happening. And I convinced Jackie Fullerton and people like that to come on and be on the studio with us as well and do it. We didn't know where it was going.
Brilliant.
And the stuff we got away, and there was people saying they couldn't get out of their car until they'd heard reindeers on the run. It was that big.
But that, as you know, Robin, that's an appointment to listen. If
That
you
is,
give people
yes,
an appointment to listen, you know, every
Yeah.
single day, they will.
Exactly.
And something like that, getting your audience involved, that's what radio's all about. And I think people have often said to me, "Oh, what's next? You know, are you going to go to Radio 1? Are you going to go national?" No. I think what we have here in Northern Ireland is something special.
Our listeners are special.
They are.
And the loyal, as you celebrate, they're loyal to us.
They really are.
They really are.
It's a real unique humour we have here in Northern Ireland, and I don't think it would fly if I were to go to somewhere across the water and try
exactly.
and...
No,
I really don't think it will.
Yeah.
I think we have something really special here when it comes to local radio in Northern Ireland, and downtown hits that bang on the head.
I'm going to take you back a little bit before that, because I'm going to take back to the Q Radio days, because you run the breakfast show. And you were following the late great Stephen Clement. I mean, that for a gig must have been something you're very proud to do. But how do you follow? You know, it must have been a scary time for you as well.
It really was. I remember at the time, and not a lot of people know this, I'm great friends with Kate Conway, who was Stephen's co-host when he was on the air with Q. And as a little nod and a little mark of respect to Stephen, on the first show, she had given me his headphones.
Right, yes.
To wear.
Yes.
On the first show. Actually, it was quite emotional at the time. And I remember thinking, oh, that's a nice wee thing. And I didn't tell anybody at the time. It was just my sort of little thing to like commemorate him and Kate as well. It was just our wee thing to be like, this is mine now. Like, like, this is mine. This is crazy. So we'd done that as a little nod to Stephen, you know, so he was kind of there through the first show. But some great days doing that show as well. But, you know, things change.
Indeed, yeah. So you're on Downtown Down, 10 o'clock every morning. It's a great time to be on the air, isn't it?
It is the ideal time to do a radio show. Yeah. My opinion, honestly, it's a breakfast show, fair play. Like it's
a killer, the breakfast show.
There's a lot of work that goes into it, and there's a lot of, you know, behind the scenes prep and stuff like that there. But I'm up at 7.
Right.
My daughter lets me have a lie-in, that is, the 2-year-old in the house, if she lets me have a lie-in. Up at 7 most mornings, showered, a wee breakfast in the house, maybe, out the door, in for maybe about 8:30, 8:45, a little large prep before the show, go on, finish at 1, home for lunch.
Brilliant. Well, the best of luck with the show.
Thank you, Rob.
And I do listen. When people say, oh, he says everybody listens to the show, I don't. So when I actually say to you, I do tune in and listen, I have been since the Q Radio days.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
I think you are that good. So congratulations
Robin,
on the show.
Thank you so much. And that means a lot coming from you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, can you believe it's been 40 years since the top TV soap EastEnders first hit our TV screens, and over the past 21 years, so many big names from the show have appeared on this very show. So we're going to delve into the archives now and play some classic interview clips from some of those big names, including Martine McCutcheon and Pam St. Clement. They'll be telling us about some of the heartbreaking scenes that they were involved in. John Altman, he'll be telling us all about playing the nasty Nick Cotton character, and of course telling us all about his relationship with actress June Brown. We'll also meet Annette Badland, who played the character Babe for 3 years in EastEnders. But let's begin by meeting one of the most iconic EastEnders characters of all time. We're talking about Dirty Den, and this is an interview that I recorded with Leslie Grantham back in about 2007, where Leslie revealed to me about his time spent in prison and how he actually became an actor. Here's what happened. Here's Leslie.
Now, your life has been one roller coaster, and I suppose the Eastenders scriptwriters could never possibly write anything like what you've been through in your life. Take me back to when you were 19 and in Germany and being in prison. That must have been a horrific time in your life for a young man of 19.
Yeah, but don't forget that you know, I've always held my hands up and said, yeah, tragically I took a man's life when I was 18, and for whatever I went through in prison, there's nothing to what my family at the time or his family went through, so I can never change that. And prison, I think, was helped, however absurd juxtaposition it is, helped me work out what I wanted to do in my life. I could have easily have fallen into a life of crime, and I had no criminal past before, but it is a breeding ground for future criminals. And I think because I had to survive in there, and I didn't want to, you know, be bullied or beaten up or raped or whatever, I put on a facade that helped me get through it, which then and people saw a potential in me when I was doing acting in there, which then they helped me for my future. And because of that, those terrible events and those terrible times, although in the book I don't mention too much about how depressing it is, or because that's going to bore people. All you remember is the good times, if you like, and that's what we should all remember in life, is the good times. But I think that was the first stepping stones of me ending up where I wanted to be, which was an actor. I never thought I'd end up this iconoclastic, you know, character that I'm always going to be known for, and I didn't base Den on any character that I'd met in prison. I actually based Den on Malcolm Allison, the old West Ham footballer in the 50s, who went on to manage Man City and Crystal Palace, who was a Jack the Lad, ducker and diver, big fish in a little pond. But I have had times when I've had to call on my prison experiences in some of the parts I play. But however bad and silly it sounds, it did actually make me a better person. I don't know how many people who are watching this show remember the Golden Lion, you know, the syrup tins with the line on out of adversity comes strength or sweetness. And I think out of the adversity that I had to put up with as a kid and as a youth and as a prisoner came something good. You know, and out of it I've met some fantastic people. I've been back to Belfast so many times. I've got mates over here, I've got great mates outside, and I've got a wonderful wife and 3 fantastic kids, although my little one has more adversity to put up with me because he's got Down syndrome. But but I think anyone who came to see the panto that we were in with Maeve and I, and when Danny came up on stage to do the sing-along, I think he's a better actor than me because he stole the show, so, and he's doing very well. Yeah.
Great. Now, the character of Dirty Den, when you originally went for a part in EastEnders, you didn't go for the Dirty Den part, did you?
No, I was I was up for the part of Pete, but I couldn't say Tweakle, so they gave me this smaller part of Den, which in fact then, because of Anita Dobson, I think, as Angie, I think the chemistry between us put us into a different league. And I'm not saying that we were better than the actors in there. It's, you know, it's an ensemble thing. Even when you're doing a one-man show, I mean, you know yourself, you present the show, but without the guys behind the camera and the sound and the other people in the office, you don't have that success. And it's the same with Dan and Ange. Without Pauline and Lofty and Michelle and Sharon and Rowley or whoever, the show is not going to be a success. You know, you can get away with 2 people running the show for 3 weeks. You can't get it for 23 years, you know. So.
Since I have you on this morning, I got to mention EastEnders. Now, you're only in EastEnders for 3 years, but it seems like you were there forever. Was it a great 3 years? Do you miss it?
I miss the people.
Yeah.
But because I've done a lot of other it feels a long way away for me now.
Yeah.
Although I'm still in touch with Danny and, you know, Linda. But it was very rich, a very rich experience and very different from anything else I've known, really, because the public think you are your character. So it was the first time I'd done something and people didn't say, oh, I can't remember your name, but I like that thing you were in the other night, or oh, you're Annette, aren't you? Why were you in that? It was terrible. But they came and said, babe, you all right, babe? How are you today, babe? And it's a little bit unnerving, especially when you're playing someone who's very unpleasant.
And there were certain times you couldn't leave your house as well, isn't that correct?
I had death threats at the end, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was told not to go out and not to tell people where I was going, and you make a joke of it and say, oh, it's, you know, some sad person in a single room, you know, and try and deflect it, but it is still worrying if people say don't, you know, the police are saying don't tell anyone where you're going and don't, you know, use your phone and things like that. But, you know, it dissolved.
One thing I will say that I never had quite again was the camaraderie that we had together. We all knew at a time when there were kind of only 4 channels. It seems like I'm talking about 60 years ago, doesn't it? But at a time there's only about 4 or 5 channels. We were so united. We all knew each other's real names, but everybody else felt like they knew us as our characters, and felt like they were growing up with us and they were living their lives with us as the backdrop, you know. And it was such a huge show, like I think it was like 22 million viewers at times, and so it was such an honor to be part of it. But it was good I was so young, and it was good to have people like Sean, like Ross, like Barbara, who had experience, who could help you laugh at it all, who had your back, who helped you with the press, because it's a lot to take on very, very young. And I was still, you know, a teenager, basically. I was 18. So they were brilliant and they really looked after you. And that's the thing that I think I miss. I think now when you do different jobs, you're not with each other for 4 years like I was in the show. You're there for kind of like maybe a year max, or 6 months or 3 months. And then you're on to the next kind of like traveling circus, if you like. But with EastEnders, it did feel like family.
And of course, for you, you were in some of the biggest storylines at that time. And I think Tiffany's final scene, you and Ross, will probably go down in soap history as one of those most emotional moments of all time.
Well, I mean, it was emotional for me, for sure. It was emotional for everybody. But it was something that, you know, if you're going to go, what a way to go, eh?
Now we're going to talk about Nasty Nick. Do you get fed up talking about EastEnders?
How can I avoid that? Some actors have pretended they were never in it. They call it the soap. I can't ignore it, can I? So I kind of play along with it, you know. Yeah. And yeah. As soon as I'd arrived in Belfast Airport, I did, I think, 3 selfies at the airport. So even though I haven't been in it for 3 or 4 years, what's it now? Where are we? 2000. Yeah, I left in 15, I think it was. So yeah, it's about 4 years ago now. So people don't forget, do they? But I don't mind. You know, it's like, what can you do? You can't erase what you've done in the past. But and it was a great time. They always gave me some good storylines, and the highest murder rate in Albert Square to date. 4 people. Yeah.
What about your relationship with June Brown?
Well, very special relationship. I always said she's like my second mother, if you like. My dear mother in real life passed on about 3 years ago, and I saw June a few weeks back, went around to her house. She's 92 now. Wow. Still puffing. I think her doctors told her not to stop because the body would go into shock if she stopped, bless her. So yeah, and we get on really well, actually. We share a great interest in the afterlife, actually. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. We've been reading. She passed a book on to me about it. Yeah. So there's well, I guess we're both quite spiritual, and we both take the same amount of vitamins as well, about 12 every morning. Hence the fact we're still here, maybe.
Well, Pam, since I have you on the show today, I've got to tell you as well, we've missed you so much on TV over the past 10 years. We really have. And being a massive soap fan, the massive EastEnders fan, I got to say, one of the most heartbreaking scenes on television that I've ever seen was Pat Butcher's death. Was that difficult to do?
Well, it was difficult because of the context. In other words, I was leaving. Yeah. And I think that made it doubly, although I was the one who I think kept my head straight most of the time and didn't get involved. I couldn't at any time we were filming all that. I couldn't come out of character and be me, because then I would have had it. But, you know, whilst ever I kept my eye on the ball. I was fine. Yes, it was a very strange thing to have to do.
And do you miss Pat?
I've put her away now. I've put her in the wardrobe like an old coat, and I'm not sure that I can even fit in her anymore. I mean, I'm not sure that I haven't sort of got over her now. It took a while. It was quite a period of mourning.
And when I look back at all the great scenes that you had over the years, I mean, it must have been totally amazing to work with people like the late great Barbara Windsor.
Yes, indeed, I do miss Babs like mad. Yes, I miss her. I miss everybody at EastEnders, actually.
Yeah.
It's obviously, it was a large part of my life.
And of course, Mike Reid as well, because Pat and Frank were just the ultimate soap couple, weren't they?
Yes. Yes, I can remember our executive producer at the time said, it's the only true love story in EastEnders, Pat and Frank.
Right, lots of celebrations on the show this week, from 40 years of EastEnders to 25 years now of a very worthwhile charity, the Suicide Awareness and Support Group. They've got a couple of big events coming up. We're going to find out all about it because Margaret and Rosie from the charity join us in the studio. Welcome. Good to see both of you. Margaret, a big year ahead for the charity.
Absolutely. It's our 25th year. Celebration maybe isn't the right word that we would use, but I think it needs to be recognised of the work that we do in the local community. We're based in the Falls Road in West Belfast. We have a big pink and blue building. A lot of people don't know where we are until the aftermath of losing a loved one. So we set off, and I lost my brother to suicide in 1999, and there was no support for families or for friends or communities. So we called a public meeting, and it was inundated with family members bereaved. It was inundated with local councillors. It was inundated even with the director of the mental health services. What can we do?
Yeah.
And we said we need services. We need to provide support for these families. They can't go on this journey alone. We need counselling. We need therapies. And there was no strategy in the north of Ireland. So it was the families then that set up Suicide Awareness and Support Group. And we campaigned and lobbied for 6 years, and finally the Protect Life strategy was implemented into the north of Ireland in 2006. So that then gave us an opportunity then to be able to provide family support for the families bereaved, crisis intervention for those in suicidal distress, and also we do training. We do training to prevent suicide, so we can go out. A lot of people think, and if someone's suicidal, that you have to be a doctor, you have to be a counsellor, you have to be a psychiatrist. Anybody that has a heart and cares, with this training, it's very intense training, but it helps save a life.
So things really have moved on in the last 25 years then?
Absolutely. Yeah. We work very close in partnership with Public Health Agency, Belfast Trust, the PSNI, the ambulance service. So we have evolved over the years, and working in partnership is really important. That is, you know, not only helps the person who is suicidal, but also helps the family support them as well.
But sadly, in the last 25 years as well, the figures haven't decreased. The figures of suicide are still really high for such a small country here in the north of Ireland.
Well, one thing I don't like to say, Robin, is how many people have lost their lives, because what number was my brother?
Yeah.
You know, so we try and steer away from the statistics of it and try and do more positive attitude to it, to say if we hadn't been there for the past 25 years, along with other groups across the north, how many more lives would be lost.
Yes.
So we're more about the positive message getting out there of, you know, as long as our doors is open, there will always be someone there to make sure that that person gets the right help at the right time.
Rosie, tell us your story, how you got involved then with the charity.
Well, I began volunteering in 2019, but then in 2021 I became unwell mentally myself and didn't want to be here anymore. So after a few months, I reached out to the organisation and got the help that was needed.
And now you're using your time to help others as well, which must be very rewarding. But I mean, you must be hearing some serious stories on a daily basis.
You do. But it's more about the lives that are saved for me personally. I mean, you only know what you know.
Yes.
For me, even though I was a volunteer, I didn't really know much about it until I became unwell myself.
Yeah.
And how it affected me and the stigma that bees attached to it. I think prevented me from actually admitting that I wasn't well. But when I did, it opened up my life completely, and I can honestly say now that I'm the strongest version mentally of myself I've ever been.
And of course, it's not just the people who are going through these issues as well, it's the families who are going through it with them that also need the support too.
Yeah, of course. And my family was able to get support through Suicide Awareness and Support Group as well. It wasn't just me, because it affected mainly my older daughters, because they didn't know what was happening to me and they couldn't understand it. And they couldn't understand why I wasn't asking for help neither. And it was when my eldest daughter said to me, "Mummy, please, you need some help."
Yeah.
On the Saturday evening, I reached out to Margaret, and she was actually on a very rare occasion where she went away for the weekend, and she still lifted the phone to me and got me the help I needed.
And that's the hardest part, Margaret, isn't it? Making that initial phone call or asking for help initially.
Absolutely. And again, our job isn't Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. As Rosie said there, on the Saturday evening, whenever she phoned, right away, your instinct is keep her safe.
Yes.
I wasn't physically able to go and do that, but I was able to get other resources put into place. And it was the MAT team that actually came and took her to the hospital. And then from that, then I was able to do a follow-up, check in with her, and then get her into the centre, and then put a safe plan in place alongside support for her emotional and practical needs. And then she was able to then be ready then to move into counselling. And I really firmly believe that 6 sessions Rosie needed beyond that.
Right,
so she needed long-term support, and we pride ourselves that we are able to provide that service. You know, it's not a short-term fix. No. It's a toolkit that you get for the rest of your life, no matter what situation you're faced with, that you've got this toolkit that you can dip into any time to be able to get you from A to B some stages of your life.
And of course, to enable you guys to do what you do, you need the money to keep rolling in as well. And I know you've got a couple of fundraising events coming up. The first one is the walk that's happening. Tell us about that.
Yes, we have our beautiful Darkness into Light walk. There's over 207 organisations signed up to do it. It's worldwide. It is happening on the 10th of May at 4:15 a.m. We do it up the Hannestown, and just walking around that Black Mountain. That's where my brother took his life, was in the Hatchet Field, so it's very poignant to me.
Yes, yeah.
And you leave in the dark, and as you walk around the mountain, there's the sunrise coming up. It's an absolutely beautiful event, and because it's our 25th anniversary, the guys of Lavderg in the Darkness in the Light, they have come together as a small team, and they have built up a few events in the run up to it. On Saturday, we just did the Belfast City tour with Laurie and Paul. Like, we live in Belfast, and what we don't know of the beautiful city that we live in, it was overwhelming. There was over 60 of us that had attended that. And now we're doing a big walk of hope on the 5th of April. We're going to be launching the Darkness into Light walk at 10 a.m. in Suicide Awareness and Support Group, 209 Falls Road. Everyone is welcome. And then we'll be setting off at 11 a.m. and we'll be doing a walk across West Belfast, over the north, south, east, and back to the west. Wow. And the reason for that, it's cross community.
Yeah.
We all need to be working together, and suicide crosses no boundaries.
Exactly.
I think that's really, really important. So anybody that's willing to come along, walk along with us. It's not a fundraiser, it's not about money, it's about raising awareness, and it's about having that open and honest conversation about breaking down the stigma that it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah. The Europa Hotel then, in May, you've got a big 25th anniversary fundraising night coming up, haven't you?
Yes, because we are a charity, we have, because it's the 25th, so we're keeping everything 25.
Yeah.
So we have a hashtag Thrive25, we're doing a 25k walk. Our 25th anniversary is on the 24th of May, 6 p.m. in the a Rupo Hotel. It's a black tie gala event. We don't want families to have to pay for a meal and entertainment. So we are here really reaching out to ask any businesses, local businesses, corporate businesses, to reach out and, you know, sponsor a table for these families and let them remember their loved one without them having to, we're going through poverty stricken as we are. So anybody out there, they can contact us on 209 Falls Road. Our phone number is 028 9023 9967, or they can actually email me at am.walker@suicideawareness.co.uk, and I've also give you the letter as well. If you could promote that for us, Robin, that would be great.
I'll do that. We'll put up the phone number and the email address on our screen right now as well, so people can get in touch with you. So the very best of luck with that event and the walk as well. And guys, keep doing the great work that you're doing, because as we've discovered, it's much needed out there.
Thank you very much, Robin.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us in.
Thank you. Right, still to come on the show this evening, I'll be chatting to comedian Mark Simmons about some of the most avoided topics of 2025. And we'll have some brand new music in the studio from Joe O'Sullivan from the band The All Clear. But before all that, let's do the What's On guide and see what's happening throughout Belfast and beyond over the next week or so. Let's begin with the Grand Opera House, and after numerous sellout tours across Northern Ireland last year, the team from Give My Headpiece returned to the stage from the 24th until the 29th of March. You'll meet your favourite characters from Ulster's best-loved dysfunctional family: Da, Cal, Ma, Dimpna, Billy, Pastor Begbeen and Sandy, the knee breakers barman, will all be there. And there will also be up-to-the-minute satire, top-class stand-up as well from Tim McGarry, plus silly plots and the occasional song as well. And here's Tim McGarry telling us a little bit about what you can expect from this year's tour.
Pastor Begbie has been sleepwalking,
right.
And ended up in the Falls Road joining Sinn Féin. Ma has a favourite statue that she prays to that Da finds out is quite valuable, flogs it to, gets it off the Antiques Roadshow and flogs it. And there's a curse on the statue. That sort of thing. Yes, yeah. That sort of a thing. And we've had a ball, Robin. We're 18 shows in, so we now know our lines.
Of course,
by the time we hit the Opera House on Monday, we will be word perfect.
Let's talk music now, and Cleona Hagan returns to the Ulster Hall on the 23rd of March with the Dolly Parton Songbook. And celebrating over 50 years since the formation of the legendary rock band The Eagles, the Illegal Eagles are also making a return to the Waterfront Hall here in Belfast on the same night, the 23rd of March. This critically acclaimed show features the very best of the Eagles' catalogue of classics, including Hotel California, Desperado, Take It Easy, New Kid in Town, Life in the Fast Lane, and many, many more. Now, World Down Syndrome Day is on the 21st of March, and there's going to be a very special event taking place at the Empire on Thursday the 27th of March. It's called Rock Your Socks Off, and it's a night of rock and roll featuring the amazing Toby Jepson from Little Angels, Cormac Neeson from The Answer, The Arms of Venus de Milo, and Phil McCarroll. So if you want to get along and support that special night to raise funds for local Down syndrome and special needs charities, then get yourself along to the Empire on the 27th of March. And finally now, if you want to catch a movie in cinemas this weekend, Robert De Niro is back with a new one. It's called The Alto Knights, and the film follows two of New York's most notorious organised crime bosses as they vie for control of the city's streets. Once the best of friends, petty jealousies and a series of betrayals place them on a deadly collision course that will reshape the mafia and America forever. Here's a clip from The Alto Knights.
I'm going to retire. I need to find a way to take it all down.
It's just you and me. We are our own family.
He's up to something. I'm telling you, he's not going to try anything. I don't know what he's going to do.
Looks like a good movie starring Robert De Niro. Time for some live music in the NVTV studios. I'm going to play something brand new from Joe O'Sullivan from the band The All Clear.
To fall in love, you need a sign as colorful as rainbows in the night. We heard the call at different times, holding on to finally synchronize. There must be something in the way you found me that I wanted you to know. There must be something in the way you found me. But how did I know? Tell me how did I know? Saw the motions of your mind float around like raindrops caught in light. I brought along another style and blended with the staples of your life. There must be something in the way you found me that I wanted you to know. There must be something in the way you found me. But how did I know? Tell me how did I know? There must be something in the way you found me that I wanted you to know. There must be something in the way you found me. But how did I know? Tell me how did I know? Tell me how did I know? Tell me how did I know?
So there we go, some live music here in the NVTV studios, Something in the Way You Found Me. That's from Joe O'Sullivan from the band The All Clear, and I'm pleased to say he's here with us right now. How are you, sir?
Great, Robin. Great to be here.
Great to see you. Last time you were here, you were just releasing the album back then, weren't you?
That's
so
right.
I'm hearing great things, great reports about the album. It's doing very well, isn't it?
Yeah, we've had great reviews and people really interested in it this time, and we got a lot of new fans from all over the world actually listening, which is really good.
Brilliant. So tell us about that song you just performed there. What's the kind of story behind that then?
You know, that's the only real acoustic song on the album. It's a piano track, and it's a song about when you meet somebody first, how do you know they're right for you? So it's about that kind of idea. Are they sending signals? Are you receiving signals? So it's a little bit about that. When you meet somebody, and how do you know they're the right person for you?
Right.
It's about those kind of ideas.
Okay, remind us about you as well, because you're a doctor by daytime, aren't you? And then a rock and roll star by nighttime.
Something like that. Sometimes mix it up as well. I work as an oncologist at the City Hospital, where I look after men with prostate cancer. I'm a professor at Queen's, doing a lot of research into cancer, especially prostate cancer. Yeah, and that's been the day job. That's been paying the bills for quite a few years.
So is music like the hobby, or is that something you secretly would love to be doing full time?
I mean, it's getting more parallel now. I mean, the money comes from the medicine. There's no doubt about that. That pays the bills. But yeah, the music is a bit more than a hobby for me now, and it's like a parallel career, I suppose, really.
Yeah. What about gigs and things? I know you've got a big one coming up just before Easter, haven't you?
Yeah, we're really looking forward to our first big gig now. We got a keyboard player in the band now as well. And this will be the first chance on the 19th of April, Easter Saturday, in the Pavilion in Belfast. So it's going to be a great night. Also a support act. My son Oisin is going to support us.
Right.
So he's an original musician as well. So it's going to be a great night.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. What about plans for the rest of the year then? Are you going to be doing the festivals of the summer, or what's the idea?
Yeah, we haven't got anything confirmed yet, but we're aiming at some summer festivals and then some gigs around Ireland in the autumn as well.
Right.
So hopefully Dublin, Galway and Derry.
Excellent.
Going forward. So.
Excellent. Well, I know you're going to stick around, do a second song for us. What are you going to do as your second song?
Next song is called Accidental Valentines.
Okay,
yeah,
right.
It's a song about being accidentally in Valentine's Day without knowing.
Brilliant. But you know what? We'll save it for the end of the show and we'll play out the show with that song. Joe, as always, good to see you.
Thanks,
you so
Robin.
much
Thanks
for
so
coming
much.
in.
Appreciate it.
Right, time to meet our final guest on the show this week, who is a top comedian. We're chatting about the most avoided topics of 2025 with Mark Simmons, and I caught up with Mark earlier this week. Here's what happened. We're going to get all controversial now and talk about some of the most controversial topics of the year. To help us do this, I'm pleased to say that a comedian and also winner of the Edinburgh Fringe's Joke of the Year, Mark Simmons, joins us now. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So first of all, tell us the Joke of the Year. What was the joke then?
Okay, yeah. So what's interesting actually is what I didn't realize when you win something like that, the joke now live doesn't really work because too many people have heard it. So I'm excited to see your reaction. So I was going to sail around the globe in the world's smallest ship, but I bottled it. Yes.
I like it. I like it.
That's the best it's worked since.
Really? Yeah. So after winning something like that, do the gigs increase for you? What happens?
Yeah, well, I was on tour anyway, so that was quite nice because it just drew a bit more attention to the fact that I was around, and if people like one-liners, they know, my show is for them.
Yeah. So what about when it comes to more kind of controversial one-liners and things that we kind of avoid talking about? Is humor a way of getting around that?
Yeah. So Plum, this finance app company, they did some research, and apparently finance related topics are the #1 most taboo topic apparently.
Yeah.
And then you've got Donald Trump as well, politics and all this, which is quite all expected. But a lot of people, over 50% of people, they are more likely to talk about these topics if there's some sort of humor involved, which makes total sense because I don't know about you, but for me in life, if there's anything with tension, my family have always used jokes to break the tension and try to make everyone feel a little bit better.
This leads us on to your new book as well, where you're kind of mixing finance and jokes, aren't you?
Yeah, so for that exact reason, I was asked to write 40 jokes about finance related topics, which I thought is a lot of jokes about one topic, but there's actually a lot more to finance than I realized. There's so many different subgenres, so it was really fun because my favorite thing ever is writing jokes.
Yeah.
So to be given this challenge, it was a good bit of fun. Yeah.
So improv your finances, that's what it's called, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm embarrassed to say I didn't even come up with that. But I think it's excellent.
It is a good title, isn't it?
I should have claimed that, to be honest.
You should have, yeah.
But yeah, do you want to hear a couple of the jokes?
Oh, go for it, yes, yeah.
So I was going, oh no, I've already done that one. I was about to do the best joke of the Fringe one. So I went to a lecture about counterfeit money. Can't remember much. They told us not to make notes. But my friend told me I should put all my money in a current account, but I've got no interest in that. And I've got one about savings as well, because I like saving.
Yeah.
And I get really annoyed when I take money out of my ISA. I think it might be withdrawal symptoms. So hopefully people will take these jokes, tell their friends, and then maybe they'll start talking about ISAs or whatever, because I'm guilty of not really concentrating on my finances and stuff. Like I thought I was good. I had money sitting in an ISA for years, thinking, that's good. Yeah. I didn't know you had to keep renewing it and get better deals.
So when it comes to topics and stuff, is there anything that's off topic for you, or can you make up a joke about basically anything?
My stuff's kind of generally just silly jokes, wordplay, but I never sit down to write a joke about a certain topic, like anything edgy. I wouldn't like Donald Trump. I wouldn't sit down and go, I'm going to write a Donald Trump joke.
Yeah.
But if things occur to me as I'm going through life, and then when I come to it, craft a joke, and then it involves something edgy, then depending on where it's coming from, I think it's okay. But I just want everyone that comes out to have a really nice time. So I don't really want to alienate anyone with a topic. I mean, sometimes you can't help it. But that's never my goal, really.
Yeah. Let's come back to this list of the top 10 controversial things to talk about. Things like having pineapple on pizza made it onto the list as well. That kind of divides everybody, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that must be it. I guess people are worried that it might cause an argument because people are really like firm with their opinion on this, I think. Because I'm against it. I'm going to put it out there now because I just feel like you got your main and you got a dessert and you shouldn't really mix those. That's how I was brought up.
Yeah. And then you go out to Tenerife and they add one more on that as well. They put banana on their pizza. Back to bananas again. They do.
Really? Never heard of that.
Yeah.
That's appealing.
There
you go.
Give us one more. What else is on the top 10 list then? Obviously Trump's on there. Who else is on there?
I tell you one that made me laugh was Botox.
Oh.
I don't know anything about that. And ironically, I didn't.
I recommend it.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I guess maybe it's people worried they might offend someone if they bring it up.
Yeah.
If you assume someone's had Botox, or I don't know.
I just admit to it now. In the beginning, when I had it done, men would come up to me and say, Robin, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing yourself? Now they come up to me and they go, does it hurt?
Yeah. They'll be, mate, their advertising on their phones will all be Botox because they would have Googled it, guaranteed.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go. Well, it's been lovely talking to you.
Nice talking to you. Thank you for having me.
Good luck with the book, and come back and see us in Belfast sometime soon.
Love to. See you later.
Brilliant. Thank you. So that's nearly all we have time for on the show this week. A big thank you to all of my guests. And to play us out, let's play another track from Joe O'Sullivan live in the NVTV studios. We'll see you back here same time next week. Bye-bye.
We had a lovely night, lost in your delight, while the waiter smiled. On the way back home, we reviewed our phones and discovered why. While we were staring in our eyes, love was on each side. We were the accidental Valentine. We were the accidental all around the room, future bride and grooms were in the groove, holding a red rose in a selfie pose we just didn't know. While we were staring in our eyes, love was on each side. We were the accidental Valentine. We were the accidental Valentine. While we were staring in our eyes, love was on each side. We were the accidental Valentines. We were the accidental Valentines. We were the accidental Valentines.